Did you mute yourself?
Hmm?
Did you mute yourself? Not yet. Mute yourself. So open it right here. Open it. There. Push it. Right there. Touch. Push it. Okay, up here. Yeah.
Mr. Bly, can you raise your right hand, please? You solemnly swear that in these proceedings, the information and responses you submit will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. You may put your hand down. Mr. Bly, you have 3 charges. We're going to try and start with 636312. The rules and rights and constitutional protections that I will be discussing with you apply to each of these cases individually. Before I start off, I need to make clear to you that you have several rights and protections. The first one is the right to remain silent. That means that you do not have to say anything at all. You don't have to make a statement. You don't have to answer questions. You don't have to submit paperwork that has your signature, especially papers that admit or confess to wrongdoing. You understand you have the right to remain silent.
Yes, Judge.
You have the right to a jury trial. That means you and your attorney and the state's attorneys could select 6 jurors from a panel or a group of disinterested and random people from our community. They would hear the evidence, testimony, look at the materials, and decide whether you're guilty or not. That's essentially the right to a jury trial. All of these rights apply to each of these individual cases. Do you understand you have that right?
Yes, Judge.
Right. You have the right to what's called confront witnesses, or in another terminology, you have the right to face your accusers. Any witness who would testify, you and your attorney could cross-examine, question, or challenge. You understand that you have that right.
Yes, Judge.
You also have the right to appeal. That essentially means that you and your attorney, individually or together, could demand that a higher court review the official record of this proceeding, the evidence, and whatever is involved in this case, for whatever challenge you wanted to make. The court reporter, Ms. Kayleen Rivera, is making an official record of these proceedings, everything that's said or done. You understand you have the right to appeal.
Yes, Judge.
All right, just so you're aware, if you would decide to do an appeal, you'd have to use the proper forms, time limits, etc. So, in addition, on each case, you and the state have the right to demand that this proceeding be held in the open public courtroom. Because of the pandemic, we're not doing that. We're doing it by video conference. And in fact, this is being streamed on YouTube, which makes it open to the public. They can see and hear what's going on. But nonetheless, it is not in the open public courtroom, but you could demand that, you and the state individually. Do you understand you have that right?
Yes, Judge.
All right, Mr. Bly, these rights that I have discussed, if you persist in a plea, they each individually apply, but you give them up. Do you understand you're doing that for each one?
Yes, Judge.
All right. Now, I'm going to show you some papers. And on each one, they apply to each of the cases. We'll be repeating some of these. At the top of each document, it has what I call identifying information. It'll have the papers. Right now, we're going to do what's called a share screen. I'm going to show you the papers. Each one individually has, it starts off with what I call identifying information. It shows on here, cause number. The case number here is 636312. The others will be 646954 and 651798. 636312 is a DWI with an open container. Now, after the identifying information that you see there, you'll have the title of the document. It'll be in bold print, all capitals. This one is state's consent to video conference. What that says is that the state is agreeing to do this by video conference, and they're not demanding that it be done in the open public courtroom. Do you see and understand this document?
Yes, Judge.
Each of these different cases will have this in it. You'll notice it is signed by the prosecutor, Mr. Andrew Harris Adelman. Now, the second document, now that's being shown to you right here at the top, has again that same identifying information. This one is called Discovery Acknowledgement. Each of the documents, each of the cases has one. This one says that the law that's known as Article 39.14 of the Code of Criminal Procedure, that law requires the state to disclose and share with you any receipts, documents, items, videos, whatever's involved. They're supposed to share it with you. This document is signed by your attorney and the state's attorney, Mr. Robert Marr and Mr. Andrew Adelman. They have both signed it. They are declaring to the world and officially that in this case, the law has been followed and completed. Next document, this is yours. This is the one where you say, you agree in writing that we're going to do this by video conference. This is again 636312, but it will be the same documents for 646954 and 251798. It appears that you signed this document with your attorney. Is that correct?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you, sir. Now, the document I'm showing you is called Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights in Court's Admonitions. This document starts off with 3 individual sentences. Ultimately, the second sentence says that you know that you're being charged with driving while intoxicated. The third sentence says, I hereby enter a plea of nolo contendere to the charge of driving while intoxicated with an open container. The second case will be 646954, and it'll be for evading arrest. And the third one will be 651798, and the charge there is assault bodily injury. They're each different. This document, after the first 3 sentences, it talks about what you're charged with and how you're pleading, which is in this case, nolo contendere. This case starts off with the rest of it, that is divided into 15 significant parts or divisions. Each one is numbered. You notice number 1 there is about regard the range of punishment. In this particular instance, a driver driving while intoxicated, open container, there's a check mark next to a range of punishment that says DWI open container. The punishment is $0 to $2,000 fine. And what does it say about the jail?
6 days to 180 days in jail.
That's correct. Now, I want you to read number 2 for me, for all of us. Would you please? If you would read it out loud, please.
I am mentally competent now.
No,
and
you're
was-
looking at number 3. I want you to read number 2.
Oh, I understand to have the right to a jury trial, a right to a cross-examination of witnesses, and a right to remain silent. I freely and voluntarily waive those rights.
Very good. Now, that shows that you know and understand first of all, how to read, and you understand what it says. Did you understand what you just read?
Yes, Judge.
All right. Have you ever had mental health problems or issues?
No, Judge.
Okay. The rest of these paragraphs, where were you born, sir?
7/1897.
Okay, where? What location?
Oh, at Sisters Hospital in Buffalo, New York.
All right. So the records will reflect in all 3 cases that you are a U.S. citizen. Mr. Marr, did you and Mr. Bly review these documents carefully for all 3 cases? Robert Marr?
Mr. Melwer, your microphone.
I'm sorry, Judge, I was on mute. Yes, I've reviewed the documents with my client. He's aware of the consequences of the plea and the contents of all the documents.
Very good. And do you have any questions, Mr. Bly?
No, Judge.
Very good. All right. Now this document this is my certification to you. You notice the same identifying information. The 5th, there's a vertical stack of little boxes, and each one has a different right of appeal discussed. The 5th block, right at the top of the screen for you now. Here's where I declare that this is a plea bargain case and the defendant has no right of appeal. Did you see and understand that?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. And it is signed by you and your attorney. All right, I'm going to reload the computer. That one.
This one, highlight this one.
I'm going to give you another set of documents. This one is called a plea agreement. And the plea agreement,
I have to show it on the screen.
I'm sorry.
It's not on the screen yet. It's not shared yet.
Okay,
So you go
what do we do?
right here. Right there. Now share screen.
All right, now I'll share the last portion of that particular document. Now, on this particular case, the plea agreement, starts off with 2 little boxes there, and they will both be marked. The first one, guess what it talks about? It repeats the right to remain silent. It's a particularly important right. Then the second box will show for the record that you are a U.S. citizen. Now, right here, I'm showing you where it says DWI Specific Allegations. there's a check mark that says the state will proceed with DWI as alleged in the charging instrument. Now, the original was DWI with open container, Mr. Edelman.
Yes, sir.
And are we proceeding with the same charge?
We are, sir.
Okay. To the charge of DWI with an open container enhancement, how do you plead, Mr. Bly?
De Niro, I think we specified you were going to enter a plea of guilty to the offenses.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, guilty.
All right. The documents will reflect that you have pled guilty based on your plea and the evidence. I find you guilty. The sentence is that you're sentenced to 2 days Bexar County Jail, 0 fine and court costs. You are granted credit for time served. Time and money will run concurrently. The court finds that you have satisfied this judgment, and for that reason, you owe nothing further to the state of Texas or to this court on case number 636312. I will be signing this document accordingly. Now, I got to go back to the computer then, and we're going to go back to the documents. In particular, we're going to be looking at case number 646954. Well, this particular document, we're going to go do 65179. Okay. Here. All right, I'm trying to stay in numerical order so I don't get myself more confused than I usually am. This is case number 646954. The same rights apply to this case as the ones that I just discussed. And I mentioned, as I went along, I was mentioning that these rights apply in the same way to each one of these cases. Six 646954, as we know, is you were charged with evading arrest. Okay. In case you haven't noted, Robert, my court coordinator is trying to teach me how to do this.
Yeah, Patty's the right one to teach us, Judge. She probably
Yes.
has a lesson from her too.
Okay, Mr. Bly, it's a repetition of the documents, but this one applies to the specific charge of evading. You have the state's consent to video conference. Then we have the next document is discovery acknowledgement, Article 39.14, that's signed by your attorney and the state. They're saying that law was abided by. Then we have the defendant's consent to video conference. That's where you say, yeah, I don't need to do this in open court. The next one is the defendant's waiver of constitutional rights in court's admonitions. It is a repetition of the other document, but this one specifically talks about the charge of evading arrest or detention. Then it says that you're pleading nolo contendere to evading arrest or detention. Now, the range of punishment in this one is a little bit different from the other one because the other one was open container DWI. This one is a Class A evading. And if you look at that, the range of punishment is from $0 to $4,000 and jail from 0 days to 1 year in jail. Did you see and understand that?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, now, specifically, the rest of this document, as I mentioned in the other case, is divided into 15 paragraphs or divisions. You and Mr. Marr reviewed this one like the other and signed it, is that correct?
Yes, Judge.
All right, then we have again the trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal. This one is check marked, says no, there is no right of appeal because this is a plea bargain. You have signed that too, is that correct, Mr. Morrow? Y'all reviewed it and signed it?
Yes, Judge, that's correct.
All right. I gotta go get the other papers now. This one is again the plea agreement. And there it is. This one is fully check marked. We'll put those in front of you. Do the share screen. And there we are. For what it's worth, it's the same document, same rights, same basics, except that this is on the evading charge. Same information, at least the check mark, your citizen, right of appealed and rights of silence. Then the 5 check marks on all these rights. This one again has this that shows the charge is evading arrest. And your plea again officially is what, sir?
Guilty.
No contest. No, you're going to be no contest.
Non-contest. I'm sorry. No.
That's all right.
Mm,
Hey,
that's something.
I understand how that goes. You're not used to doing this every day as we are.
Yeah.
Now, the court finds, based on your plea of no contest, the court and the evidence, the court finds you guilty. You are sentenced to 91 days in Bexar County Jail. 0 fine, 0 costs, credit for time served, time and money to run concurrently. And the court finds that you have satisfied this judgment. And on case 646954, you, sir, owe nothing further to the state of Texas or this court. You've satisfied everything. Okay. Any questions, Mr. Black?
No, Judge.
Mr. Marr?
No, sir.
All right. Now we're going to do the third case. And that is 651-798. This is the documents are the same as the others. The rights trying to bring this up for you again.
Nero, shut your window, please. It's making too much noise.
All right. Mr. Blythe, just for the record, this is 651-798. The charge in this case is assault bodily injury. The first documents I'm showing you, they repeat the previous information you've gotten, but it's a set of documents for this particular case. The first document is talking about state's consent to video conference. That's where the state has agreed. It's signed by the state prosecutor. And then we have, again, the discovery acknowledgement. That's where the state and your attorney are both saying, yes, this law has been followed. Then we have where you say, yes, I do not need to have this in open court. I'm doing this freely, voluntarily on video conference. Then we have the next document is Defendant's Waiver, Constitutional Rights and Courts Admonitions. This is assault bodily injury. You're saying that you're pleading nolo contendere. Again, this is to assault bodily injury. That one is also a Class A. You see there the range of punishment in this document is divided into 15 numbered parts. Number 2 talks about the jury trial, cross-examination of witnesses. All these things are the same basic rights and information that has been in the other 2 cases. And you did review these with your attorney, Mr. Marr. Is that correct, Mr. Bly?
Yes, Judge.
And Mr. Marr, you verify as officer of the court that you did that, all these documents?
Yes, sir.
All right. This one you're being shown right now is the trial court's certification of defendant's right of appeal. Again, the 5th box will be marked, and for the record, you are aware that it says on there that you have no right of appeal because this is a plea bargain that you have freely entered. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. One last time. This is a plea agreement. All right. This agreement will also be marked. It specifically is for case number 651798. The first 2 boxes will be marked. Then we have the defendant's acknowledgements. You and Mr. Marr both agree that you have reviewed this document. You understand the 5 items that are talked about there on rights and constitutional protections. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you, sir. The next section talks about specifically what is it that you're charged with, and it repeats ABI, meaning assault bodily injury, to that charge. How do you plead, sir?
Nolo contender.
All right. Having pled nolo contendere to the charge of assault bodily injury, based on your plea and the evidence, I find you guilty. You're sentenced to 10 days Bexar County Jail, a fine of $0 in court costs, credit for time served, time and money to run concurrently. The court finds that you have satisfied this judgment and will so sign it, indicating that you owe nothing further to the state of Texas or this court on case number 651798. Any questions on all 3 of these cases, Mr. Bly?
No, Judge.
Mr. Marr?
No, sir. I do not have any questions.
Very good. Mr. Edelman, any questions concerning any of these 3 cases?
No, sir.
Gentlemen, that completes this proceeding, or the proceedings, plural.
Thank you, Judge. Thanks for your patience about yesterday.
No problem. You guys are excused. All of you and your loved ones be blessed, be well, and be safe. Mr. Bly, Mr. Marr did a good job in wrapping all this up for you, but you know, you're young, you got a lot of life left in you. Stay out of trouble, young fella.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Mr. Mauer.
All right, take care. Yeah. Bye, Patty.